Merry Christmas, Nigerians, and welcome to Vanguard Live. I mean, it's Christmas, everybody's out there celebrating. Precious, how's your Christmas?
Well, other than being at work, I don't think that
You don't
think ready for Christmas. But then it's good to be here to also, bring the news to the people and let them know what's going on. So,
of course,
it's still a Merry Christmas. We've been celebrating Merry Christmas period since this week now.
Yes,
everything we've been saying.
Everything. Yes, it's really fine. I mean, even if it's Christmas, we're here to give you the news. And with that, my name is Damlola Obushaki, and I'm with
Precious Chukudi.
And we're here to review and give in-depth analysis of some of the stories making waves across Nigeria, even though it's Christmas. But let's start with the paper review, and we'll start with the front page of Vanguard. And here on the front page of Vanguard, we have a Christmas message: "Trust my government on security," and that's coming from President Muhammadu Buhari. It cancels all Christmas homage, says Nigerians need a Christ-like values. As Senate President, governors, Atiku, Tinubu, others greet Nigerians. You can see this story on page 14. Now, also in the spirit of Christmas, we have a photo story here that illustrates the traffic situation in Lagos, especially yesterday. Vehicular and human traffic at the popular Midimota market in Lagos Island. I mean, here, these pictures, we have many people questioning it that if COVID was a person, I mean, a lot of people would have really caught it. But let's move on to other stories. On page 5, we have NCDC, African CDC differ on new strain of COVID-19. COVID-19 United Kingdom variant not in Nigeria, but that's coming from NCDC. Also, Africa CDC says we are investigating emergency of mutant coronavirus strains. Economic lockdown inevitable after Christmas unless, that's also coming from NCDC. Federal government rolls out measures to United Kingdom, South Africa returnees to publish passport details of travelers who evaded a COVID test. Also, 30 persons test positive in one day in Nasarawa. Sanwo-Olu out of isolation says staff lost to virus on Xmas Eve, bans crossover service. You can see this story on page 5 rather. On page 8, we have court admits Olisameto to 250 million naira bail. Southwest governors push for development commission. Now the stories above the nameplate. On page 9, we have 344 million naira ransom. Federal government wasn't part of negotiations. That's coming from the presidency. Also, no labs to carry out sample tests. Customs tells Senate. Woman raped to death in Edo. You can see that on page 7, and that's a sad story. Lastly, on the front page of Vanguard, we have CBN revokes license of 7 dormant payment service providers. And now you can see the stories on our website, also on the front pages of Vanguard. And from the front page of Vanguard, we move straight to the Punch newspaper.
And on the Punch newspaper, we have the main story: COVID-19 warnings dominate Buhari. Governor's Xmas messages. The writer says staying alive should be your watchword. President counsels second phase deadlier. Avoid crowded places. Governor advises Nigerians. UK's deadlier coronavirus strain not in Nigeria yet, declares NCDC. On stories above, we have on page 18, our kidnappers said they received 30 million naira part payment, Kankara schoolboys. On page 18 still, we have federal government opens special register for UK South Africans passengers, threatens sanction. Also on page 18 still, we have federal government picks NGO to monitor 311 million US dollars Abacha loot spending. And lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, robbers stab Lagos airport baggage carrier to death. You can see that on pages 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. Away from the Punch, move straight to the Nation.
And on the front page of the Nation, we have a COVID-19 new variant in Nigeria, not United Kingdom type. ACDC, NCDC allay fears. Positive cases up by 100% in 7 days. New rules for United Kingdom and South Africa travelers. You can see the story on the front page. Also, we need more time to end insurgency, says Buhari. President Lawan Gbajabiamila Tinubu urged peace at Christmas. You can see this story on page 5. Also, we have ex-Grand Kadru Lemu dies at 91. Lastly, on the front page of the Nation, we are waiting for borders to reopen, says traders. You can see this story on page 25 of the Nation newspaper. And that's all we have on the front pages. We'll be going on a short break, and when we come back, our guest will be joining us via Zoom to analyze the stories with us. So stay with us, we'll be back.
Ports face total shutdown nationwide. See page 5.
She overwhelmed by security challenges.
Hello and welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard. Here on Today in the News,
we read and give in-depth analysis on some of the stories on the front pages of the paper.
Also take your insightful comments of what's going on here in Nigeria and across the world. Join us Mondays through to Friday
on Vanguard Live. Alright, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Today in the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Dambala Bushaki and I'm with
Precious Chukudi.
And this is the analysis segment of our program where we have a guest who is joining us via Zoom. Is a person of Larry Arobudade, Executive Director of International Press Center. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Merry Christmas to you and Merry Christmas to all your viewers.
Same to you, sir.
Okay, let's go straight to what we'll be discussing today, and we're going to be starting with a message of the president to Nigerians. So he said, Christmas. He said Nigeria really requires the Christmas values of joy, peace, hope, goodwill, and imminent salvation to stem the rising insecurity in the country, economic recession, and the COVID-19 pandemic. He also urged Nigerians to trust his administration in its effort to restore peace, security, and prosperity across Nigeria. I would like you to react, to this message from the president to Nigerians.
Well, we were thinking that the president will normally give a Christmas message, and obviously such message will touch on the need for us to be more prayerful, to have hope, and a wish for better days. But I think it was good that the president talked about security, because that is the dominant issue in the country today. But for the president now to say that the people should trust his government to deal with the security situation, I think the president and his advisors must realize that when it comes to security, what the government is running on now is a kind of trust deficit. Because the feeling out there is that enough has not been done, especially when this insecurity crisis has now gone into the president's doorstep. The kidnap of pupils in his home state, the banditry across the country. So the time is no longer there, and I think that the president shouldn't be saying Nigeria should give him more time. I think we are running into a situation whereby the patience of Nigerians have been tested, have been tasked, and it's now for the president to walk the talk, as people would normally say.
Mm-hmm. Okay, APC in a statement by the security caretaker, that's John, he said that Nigeria is poised to exit the current recession within a short time, as several measures lined up by the federal government shows. Now, my question to you is from what you've seen so far, do you think Nigeria will soon exit, the current recession?
I don't think so, because the economic indicators are not there. The economy is not doing well. Obviously, we have global, crisis, across nations of the world. There is general recession. But in the case of Nigeria, why one would not be optimistic is that the policies of the government have been directed towards making the poor poorer, or making the people to pay for the crisis of the economy. So you have a whole range of increases in prices, of petroleum. Although the government said it should be reduced by 5 naira, that nobody has actually complied, with that. The electricity tariff is still high. So the real problem is that the purchasing power is not there. The people do not have the purchasing power, to go to the market. And when you have that kind of situation, it will be difficult. And for me, we need to look at why we're in this crisis. The fact that our economy is still not diversified, the fact that the productive sector of the economy is not just there. So any policy that would bail us out of this recession and future ones must be based on the revival of our industries, on the creation of jobs, so that ultimately the purchasing power of the citizens can be strengthened.
All right, let's move on and talk about COVID-19. Now, if you observe around you, you notice that there's an increase in the public's mistrust around severity of COVID-19. And, the DG of NCDC, that's Dr. Chikwe, has said that, the economic lockdown might be inevitable if we do not check our excesses. And we're in the festive period, even with the guidelines and everything that's been rolled out for people not to go for parties and whatnot. But when you still check social media, you still see people are clustering together, having fun, and and the likes. What's your take on it, sir?
Well, I think we need to take the warnings quite seriously, and I'm glad that the newspapers we reviewed talked about COVID-19, the Vanguard, the Punch, the fact that the new strain has not got into Nigeria, which means that we need to be prepared. We should not be caught unawares. And I feel that at this stage, there should be two approaches. The first is that it's good now that our universities are back. The ASU has called up the strike. And I feel that government now should task our universities, our institutions, our science institutions, our technology institutions. They all need to work together. There's nothing that says that Nigeria cannot have homegrown solution to this particular problem in terms of medication, or even in terms of a vaccine. Science is universal. It's not exclusive to any nation or to any race. And I feel that government needs to do more in that regard. Now, as regards the attitude of the people, now this is a problem. I think that there's still that feeling out there that this COVID-19 is an elite thing. It doesn't affect the ordinary people. So maybe we in the media need to do more to report deaths from COVID-19 that affect communities, not necessarily those of celebrities, top politicians. Secondly, government needs to really go to the grassroots for public enlightenment. I used to give this example that in our younger days, the way that government used to carry out public enlightenment on health measures, vaccination, was to drive these vans to the village square with a kind of cinema screen, and then they carry this enlightenment and they show you the visuals, and people are convinced. I think that with the existence of National Orientation Agency, with offices in 774 local governments of Nigeria, there should be that mobilization that actually now targets the grassroots. Let them go around the neighborhoods with cinematography equipment to really let citizens see what COVID-19 is and the danger that it poses. I think with that, there might be a change of attitude.
People have been calling for the fact that the government should just close down the airspace. Because the new variant of COVID-19 started in the UK, and then they're saying they're suspecting that we might have that in Nigeria. And that's the national coordinator of the PTF, Dr. Sani Aliyu, in an interview. He mentioned that holders of passports who flout the obligation to test will be suspended from traveling for a minimum of 6 months. And he also mentioned that visas for foreigners who evade the test will be revoked. Now, do you think that these measures are enough for defaulters?
I think government needs to be much more proactive. If government had acted in time, probably Nigeria wouldn't have gotten into the kind of mess it got into as far as COVID-19 is concerned. That is when we had the initial outbreak. Government delayed in banning international flights from particular countries, and before we knew it, this thing had penetrated our country. I do not think they should repeat the same mistake. We live in the age of information and communication. By now, it should be possible to determine, flights originating from UK. It should be possible to determine those who have, flown in, from UK. So, in addition to the measures that has been announced, I think more needs to be done, because what this calls for is for government to be proactive, for us to be able to, profile travelers in and out of the countries, those who are coming in, where have they visited, which countries have they been to, and then also to ensure that when citizens also come in, but we're not saying that because of COVID-19, we should restrict the movement of Nigerians or deny Nigerians the right to return to their country. But there must be strict adherence to the measures put in place, the need for them to be on isolation. If it would mean that government would make arrangements to take over some hotels close to the airport, so that you are in a place to monitor compliance with the self-isolation before clearance on health grounds. So whatever government is doing, I think we need to support them on this particular case, but they need to do more.
All right, there's an expected vaccine to come next year, 2021, and the PTF coordinator made mention that when it definitely comes, it will be administered for free to Nigerians. But then we've seen how some persons still pay for COVID-19 tests. Do you think that though in any way this vaccine will be free, knowing how Nigeria really is?
Well, it's always difficult to be optimistic when it comes to Nigerian situation, because we have a way of messing things up and creating unnecessary bureaucracies, things that should be free. People end up paying for it. If the vaccine gets to Nigeria, obviously there will be a big rush for it. So I feel that again, what government would need to do first is for them to be able to order large enough quantities, and then have a decentralized system of administration of these vaccines. I would expect that by now the personnel that will do the administration should be going through some form of country. Apart from the teaching hospitals, we have the general hospitals in the states. The way to ensure that the process is not messed up, to make use of all these tiers of healthcare system, the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary. If you have the vaccines there, I think then we might be able to ensure that the whole process is not corrupted.
Okay, away from COVID-19, now let's talk about security matters, and let's just talk about the recently released or rescued Kankara boys. So yesterday there was a report that said that that reported that the boys said the kidnappers demanded 354 million naira ransom. That's before they were released, that they were paid, and that's 1 million naira per head. And the federal government said it was not part of any negotiation or payment of any ransom for the release of the Kankara boys. And even the school boys, when they said, they reported that that even at first 30 million naira was paid, and the kidnappers said they were going to give them just 30 boys because it's 1 million naira per head. And we also read the story of the Lawa boys that talked about how they were maltreated, the way they treated them. Even told them that the kidnappers asked them if they were from a rich home. If they were not from a rich home, they could shoot them immediately because definitely they won't be able to pay the ransom. But we had a different thing, and now we are being told that 354 million naira was paid. What do you think about this when you hear this?
Well, you see, we need a lot of transparency in the fight against insecurity, and where ransom. It will be difficult to admit openly that ransom was paid or was not paid, but one could always read between the lines. If you look at the time of the kidnap of these boys, the speed at which they were released, obviously there must have been some greasing of palms somewhere. I would think that without some form of ransom, it might not be by the federal government, it could be by front. I doubt if those guys could have been released. Now, the danger in that is that we might have a repeat of this targeting of school children, because they become, in a sense, they see them as they use them as human shields to bargain for money. And if ransom was really paid, then also means that the bandits or the soldiers are also having more resources at their disposal to purchase weapons. You see, there is always we need to look at these things carefully and ask some questions. Is there a form of cycle into these kidnappings? Because when you look at the war against the soldiers in the northeast, and then you see the army claiming to have some upper hand, pushing back the soldiers, attacking them at Sambisa Forest, then all of a sudden you have this kidnap. So I have the feeling, and this is just my own personal opinion, that each time they are pushed back, maybe they are lean on resources or ammunition, they embark on this kidnapping, collect huge ransom, and use the money to rearm themselves. And that is why government needs to invest more on intelligence gathering, on mass education of potential recruits into Boko Haram. You don't know the kind of brainwashing that they would have done with these boys. Attempt to coerce them, attempt to sell their ideology to them. The government must begin to have a way of getting alternative narratives that discourage young people from wanting to join these insurgents. So like I said, it's most likely, we don't have the evidence, so we're only basing this on probability. And my own thinking is that it's most likely that ransom was paid. And if that happened, we're still in danger, because it means that they will be encouraged to repeat this. So government needs to do more about the security. Like I said earlier, in response to the president's statement that his government needs to be trusted, we also need to let government know that as far as security is concerned, they're running on a trust deficit, and the time to walk the talk is now.
Okay, in the response to what they're saying, federal government said they are not aware of, governors paying any ransom. And special assistant to the media and publicity, that's Malam Garba Shehu, said that the governors that led the talk, that's governor of Katsina and Zamfara state, said they did not pay any ransom. So of course he believes them. Like in a quote, he said, "You have a right to choose who you want to believe." Now, saying this or investigating, which do you think is the right option?
Option between what and what?
What he's saying, that Nigerians have the right to believe what they want to believe, or investigating the matter, because Nigerians currently now, the trust they have in the government is very little.
Well, yeah, I think that's the way to go. If the spokesperson of the government or the president says no ransom was paid, we can't begin to question that unless we have evidence to the contrary. So to that extent, yes, it might be right to say, let's do more investigative reporting. But also there are things that you could look at the level of some form of common sense and ask yourself, how was it easy? What exactly the two states offered to these kidnappers that made them to have this change of heart? Obviously, they had a motive kidnapping these boys. Now, in times of crisis, as we say in conflict-sensitive journalism, the truth is always the first casualty, and it's always difficult to know what the true situation of things are. But we just have to give the government the benefit of the doubt. If they say they did pay a ransom, we can't continue to insist unless there's evidence to the contrary.
All right, let's move on and talk about the Southwest governors. And now they've pushed for the establishment of a development commission that is expected to act as a catalyst to develop the commercial and industrial potentials of the Southwest, as well as the security and development challenges. Now, what do you think about this bill? And would it not be like the case of the NDDC that we're still battling with till now?
Well, your guess is obviously as good as mine when it comes to this question of us pushing for a Southwest Development Commission, just because we want to balance the equation. So there is the Niger Delta Development Commission, there is the Northeast, Northwest. So let's also have our own development commission, which means that essentially you are trying to do what you say you are against. The fact that wealth is concentrated at the center, where everybody goes to the center to collect their own share, even when the resources emanate from the regions, like the tax, the VAT, and the rest of them. So when you establish this commission, you still rely on the same federal government to fund it, and then we have that kind of problem. I do not think that the absence of the Southwest Development Commission is the reason why we are here where we are, because the absence of that commission has not stopped the states from collaborating, from looking at their economic blueprint and how they can work on each other. So for me, it's just about adopting the right approach. Because by the time you have this commission, then you now have a new bureaucracy, a huge bureaucracy that has to be funded. The commission, like NDDC, will have an MD, will have an accountant, will have, and then you just kind of duplication of responsibilities. And it's not as if their salaries and emoluments will be determined by the people. They are likely to earn humongous salaries. So at the end of the day, you are going to be spending a lot of money to fund the bureaucracy of the commission as against carrying out actual development. And then don't forget, there will also be the question of who has the commission. Should it be somebody from Lagos? Should it be, maybe they are going to have rotational system, a particular group is dominating. These are the kind of problems that you have there. I'm not saying they shouldn't have it, they could have it, but I'm not convinced that we are where we are because of the absence of this commission. I think they do not have the right attitude. And I used to give this example. If we are really serious about development, generating resources, I do not think that, although there is a problem of the Railway Act, who can do it, and the rest of them, but just look at Lagos and Oyo State. Just imagine that you have, we're not talking of this train that still take about 2.5 hours to get to Ibadan. I don't even drop you at Ibadan. A direct train, an express train, Lagos Ibadan, 30 minutes. Lagos Ibadan, 30 minutes, like you have in some parts of Europe. And then you begin to extend that. The money you will generate from that, you can't just imagine it. That can really, really transform, these economies. So you don't need a development commission. You don't need a development commission to tell you that Lagos and Ogun State needs to have a blueprint of road infrastructure. The road system, for example, that would ensure that you have a kind of dual carriage ring road, around Lagos and going through Ogun State. That is the kind of thing that we need. But when they say the commission will wait and see, but I'm not convinced that is the solution to our problem.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Larry Arogungbade. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for putting me on your show on this Christmas day.
We should thank you for
Merry Christmas once again.
Yes, thank you, and wish you the same also. And that's all today in the news. And we'll be speaking with Mr. Larry Arogungbade, and he is the Executive Director, International Press Center, and he has analyzed some of the stories with us. But before we leave this morning, let's hear what Mr. and Mrs. are saying. And the first person speaking today is Mrs. She says, "Dear, do you like my new hairdo?" And Mr. replied, "What do you expect after coughing out 70,000 naira for it?"
He doesn't have a choice now.
He doesn't have a choice for it.
Thinking I was who will buy bone straight hair these days.
70,000 naira, I mean, it's a lot. But before, it seems it's been long that we took sports here. Let's just look at what it's saying at the back. And here we have MPFL, no going back on Sunday, kickoff, club owners. Wow, I think that's a great news because many people have been doubting that. And we have PSG sacked Tuchel, that's Thomas Tuchel, turns to Pochettino. I mean, that's really a surprising one considering that, he won 2 league titles ever since joining the league, one side in 2018. He won the French Cup and French League Cup. Also talking about Sanusi wins Portuguese Super Cup with FC Porto. Also, Messi will be messed up at Barca, that's coming from Ayodele. Chelsea to offload Moses, 7 others. Also, Siemens coach battles autoimmune disease. I would like to get your opinion. What do you think about the sack of of PSG's coach, that's Puchel Thomas. Do you think Pochettino will be able to do a better job for PSG than that of Thomas? And that's all on spot. Don't forget that you can always get these stories on our website. That's www.vanguardngr.com. And also, you can always follow us on our social media platforms that are showing on your screen. If you get a copy of Vanguard, of course, our team, all the time, Vanguard, are wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance. And that ends it on today. I'm Dablola Okunshaki, and I'm with my
precious Chukwudi. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy your fabulous Christmas day. You can send your chickens to us. We will not mind
gladly
you
eat it. You
using your chickens to as well.
Merry Christmas also, and have a lovely weekend.
Regarding my own personal experience, I tell you there are no two experiences. It's different from every one person. I had a big bout, I must tell you. It was not mild. I was not asymptomatic. It was more than asymptomatic. So I felt it. All of the things you will feel: headache, throat, cough, lots of everything, tiredness. So I felt it. It's really looking at an oxygen, in front of me. So it's real. You understand? And so when they say to you, check your oxidation, check your oxygen level, these are real facts that people need to, because there's something they call in medical terms, you will not know that you're on reserve. It's like you are driving a car and your car has moved to reserve, but it will still tell you that you have fuel. Until when the reserve just finishes, that's where the car will just stop. So don't wait until when you get to reserve. Once you feel unwell or something, please shout out. Because what we're hearing is that people are hiding their status. Don't hide it. Don't move away from people, and you are having it and you're not telling it. Please, for the sake of your loved ones, for the sake of people that you're protecting, come out, let people know. And so that you can isolate and you can get